So now, Ndu,
Yes.
as we've heard from the news with Dennis Aseto this morning, there are parents who are crying to the Teacher Service Commission because the Teacher Service Commission responded to what the parents did.
Yeah.
And also listened to what the teachers' unions had said. And this is after exam results came out. And the parents and the school community saw what happened to teachers. I mean, what happened to their students. And there was bad performance in those schools.
Yeah.
And teachers were up, parents came up and said, look, this is not just a one-off. This has been a trend. There's been a downward trend in the performance of the students who sit exams in this school. And they attribute it to the leadership and the management of the school. They say in many cases they have an issue with the school head, principal, headmaster, whatever, and some teachers. And then they say, in fact, from today on, why don't you do this? Let's return you back to sender. You leave, go. Let TSC deal with you and bring us another teacher.
Yep.
We don't want you here. TSC has said, you cannot be like that to our teachers. They withdrew their teachers.
All of them.
Yeah.
Let's give it context, shall we?
Yes.
So, 2 exams were written over the last 2 months. 3 exams, actually. By the way, we're still waiting for the results of KPSEA, but that's a totally different
those
story.
ones don't wait.
Let's just give it a minute. Okay? So, KCP was written October 30th until the 1st of November. Children finished the last KCP, they went home. Right? KCSE was written a week after that, was written over the span of 3 weeks, and then they did their thing, finished high school. Right? Now, we saw the results come out just a week before Christmas for KCPE and then just after the New Year for KCSC. In both of these exams, there were complaints. There were complaints about grading, there were complaints about marks, and then there were further complaints about placement. And then we saw the largest complaints come about after KCSC results came out. It was vitriol, it was anger. People said it is not possible that we had so many numbers of those who scored less than average results in this exam. It is not possible. Now, 2024 is not the first year that it has happened. We've been seeing this trend over the last few years, but this time we've said we're not going to take it anymore. We saw situations in schools whereby head teachers were frog marched out of the school and said, get out, we don't need you here. If you have no explanation as to why our students perform so poorly, we don't need you here. All right? We cannot continue to accept results. Where am I today as a parent taking a child who has a C-, who has a D, who has a D+, in a school where the highest mark was a C-? That means none of the children who sat that exam will even go to a TVET.
Yep.
That is what the parents were saying. None of them, the highest in this school was a C-. We cannot accept this. And it cannot be that all of these children, all of them, there's not even one who has been able to absorb the learning and the teaching that has been given to them over the last 4 years. Then it is not possible. Even in one subject, you would have passed, for goodness sake. Because the C that you get is an average of
all the things
that you've scored.
Yep.
Even in one, we would have seen something that would have boosted you, and that did not happen. So they said, out. We cannot have this anymore. So the question now remains on the tongues of many. Were parents within their right to demand some kind of value for the time and resources they put behind their children going to these schools to then finish in these exams? One. On the other hand, does TSC also have the right to say, no, you cannot treat us like this? Or should they actually do something about this recurring problem at school? That we just say, after all, it was an exam, and we'll say, it's okay. Some children test poorly. It's okay. Maybe this was a hard exam. There were many circumstances that then contributed to the exam results having come out the way in which they did. Or should we actually take drastic action when it comes to things like this? If the bar has been set by the nation, not even for university, we say now even tertiary, TVET, in order for you to get to a TVET, we need you at a C. C- doesn't cut it. So you have an entire institution that will not even go to a TVET. Should we then say, even do maisha iko, and we try again next year? Or do we say, no, cut out this cancer and let's deal with these issues.
Should we ask where the problem is, or should we only say that the teachers are responsible?
Exactly. Should it not be a more wholesome conversation? Because truth be told, will you take all the blame and lay it on the shoulders of a head teacher in X school? You cannot do that.
Who else bears the blame?
There are other
And
questions
how do we
that must
apportion
be
that blame?
asked.
The Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Collins Oyu, has an opinion piece that's been published in the Standard today. I'll read excerpts of it. He says, "We need to make it clear to Kenyans that performance of our learners is not an event. It's a conglomeration of various activities and effort such as the discipline of learners, safe and secure teaching and learning space, availability of teaching and learning materials, good organization and mobilization in the teaching and learning processes, and the support of parents and other stakeholders in school programs and activities. It therefore means that all of us have a stake in the process of making the good result that we yearn to see. It's a journey that requires all of us to be on board for the best results to be realized. Parents play a major role, especially in the learning process of students who are day scholars, since they provide learning space and peace that can lead to good results. What baffles us more is the fact that parents seem to be surprised at the result of their own children after the release of exam results. The teachers are wondering, guy, you guys are shocked. It shows that parents do not take keen interest on what goes on in the education of their children. It also shows that there is no adequate communication between the school and the communities. We are particularly perturbed by the fact that our learners, to whom we offer patriotic education that emphasizes on morals and values, engage in shouting marches and frog marching of their own teachers out of school. We are afraid as teachers that communities are not setting good morals and standards and showing good examples to these children." This is what the teachers
So we have a back and forth here, do we?
He's basically saying, look, it's not just teachers. This, as if you see results looking like this, start with the parent. Did the parent provide a conducive learning environment for this child at home? Did the parent support the school in teaching their children? Because if they didn't, then you're going to see the kind of results that we are seeing. This is an end of something that has been there for a long time, but it involves very many people sitting.
You know, when such a thing happens, I am of the view that you don't take a defensive position where one side is saying this, one side is saying this, because the discussion here is not about parents or teachers or the union, it's about students. How is it that of all the years that school has existed, why is it that this one time there is this matter that is being brought to the public domain? Question number one. If the issues that this person has been talking about, has written about, okay, but it is a simple fact and everyone knows, it's not something that you is even subject to debate if you ask me, that there is no Kenyan parent who doesn't do everything within their means to make sure that their child does well.
Yeah.
If there's something that they don't do, they can't do it, they're not able to do it. But the child spends more time when they're a student in school than they do at home.
Indeed.
Now, the role of the teacher is in loco parentis. They're there instead of the parent. That is actually the role. This role, as though these people are chefs in some central kitchen, where once they have cooked, and this is what we've cooked, that's it. And this is it. You do not have a choice as to determine what else you're going to eat. This is the menu, this is it. You cannot treat education as though you're thinking of some business matter where sides are to be taken. There clearly is an issue that must be addressed. And that issue is not being addressed by pointing fingers at parents or pointing fingers at the school. What is it that went wrong, if indeed something did go wrong? And can it be addressed?
You know, I think we need to point fingers. I am not sitting around here on one. My finger is clearly being pointed at the Ministry of Education and the Teachers Service Commission. Everybody else is all a story. You want to point fingers at parents? Fine, you can point fingers at parents. But the biggest responsibility lies with those that understand the education system. Those that are experts in the education system. They know what education is all about. They know these are the inputs, the key ingredients that are required for good performance in schools. They know this is what is needed. They're the ones who write the policy. They're the ones who send the teachers. They know this is the kind of quality of teacher that we need. They know this is how we check on the performance of our teachers. If TSC and the Ministry of Education are not doing their job, you're going to see these things happening. It doesn't matter. If TSC had a handle on things, is the Ministry of Education had a handle on things, if parents are not supporting children at home, the ministry would have raised an alarm and said, guys, this is how we need you to support these children.
Absolutely.
As they go through education. If there was an issue of a lack of infrastructure, the ministry would have noticed, because we have people whose job it is to notice. We have people whose job it is to ensure that these children are doing well. There's no way. For me, sending the teachers home is telling the employer and the ministry that you dropped the ball here and you need to take action. You could say, okay, yeah, it's a violent way of doing it. Actually, I don't think there was violence in frog marching these teachers. They were just removed from school. I say, remove this teacher. Yes.
You know,
if a community is unhappy with the performance of their children, they have a right to be unhappy about the performance of their children.
You see, I was responding to that article.
This one of Collins or you?
Yeah, because someone who has a position of authority like this, and that is his take on it. Come on, man. This is a sensitive issue.
It is, especially when it bears on the future of. If you're looking at it from a parent's point of view, it bears on the future of your child.
In this instance,
all of the children. Let's just take this one school as an example. This one school where we saw all parents in the school of all the candidates who sat KCSE do not have an option of where their children are going to go for tertiary education.
After 4 years.
And this is something that has been set by the ministry. It is not from Mars that somebody pulled out something and said, oh, by the way, let's see if this year we can just make the marker C. No. It's been set and they said, okay, fine. In order for you to get to university, this is what we need. Now, we also have TVETs in place, but we're going to ask you to at least get to this level before we allow you enroll at a TVET, right? Now, if you do not meet the mark, there's no I beg. There's no, oh, please look at me today and see if I can come in because I look a certain... No, you will not be allowed to enroll in a TVET. You cannot. Now, the same ministry has not brought about a situation where we will be able to handle this issue. Whereby, because they thought it would never happen, where nobody in an institution, there must be at least one person, right, who will get the mark. Never took into consideration that this circumstance that we are facing today could actually be a reality. And say, oh my goodness, how about we have something called a bridging course, like you brought up a couple of days ago. A bridging course so that in the event where we have a problem, we can actually move, because we have done what? We have seen the potential problem and we are being proactive in how we can deal with it. Nobody thought about that. Nobody said, let's deal with it. So, do we have a situation whereby there's been a frog in the kettle kind of thing and it's been boiling and boiling until the frog doesn't know it's dead? And then parents, let me tell you what has struck people. Because you asked the question, it's not the first time that people have gotten C, C minus, D. No. But the reality that the institution where you put your child in is not just you. Everybody will not go. So you say...
Everybody basically just got a bad grade.
Yes. And then you say, oh my goodness, what has been happening here for the last 4 years? So the alarm is being sounded. Many would say a little too late, but it's being sounded all the same. And it points to a problem that must be dealt with across. It is a ministry issue. It is a TSC issue. It is, yes, a parent's issue. It is a student's issue. It's an all-round issue that is not being dealt with, and it must be dealt with. We cannot raise the alarm when the results come out. And you cannot tell me that teachers, that's why you have continuous assessment. You cannot tell me that teachers over time did not see, oh, wait a minute, this thing is not going well, but let's hope and pray that exams will bring out the best. It can't. And when I keep saying that there's a crisis in education, these are the things that we're talking about. that even the matter of what is being delivered to students over time has dwindled in terms of its quality. What do you expect? You put in something, that is what you're going to get out. You cannot put beans in the farm and expect avocado to come out. It is not possible. So what questions are we asking about the quality of education that's being delivered? What questions are we asking about the benchmarks that are put in place to that's one thing I agree with Sosion. When we talk about quality checks, why? What is going on?
He was spot on.
He was spot on there. Why are we not asking questions? And then you expect miracles to happen. Bana, it's not possible.
I don't know of any school, any government school that doesn't have a parents' association. I don't know. One of the reasons why you have these associations is so that matters arising in a school can be addressed with the parents as well. This is not a board of management meeting, it's parents. And these parents have the power and the means to address the board and bring this. You know, they have all the leeway. And by the way, if it's a school within a community, those members in those boards are community members. The chairman of that board is likely to be somebody who's in that community.
Yep.
I was one such person. That's why I'm speaking so confidently.
Let me ask you, CT,
Yes.
at those times, would you have parent delegations or people who just pop in to ask you, Bonamuga, what's happening? Things are not, we are not. Do you have people who would come
in this day
in?
and age, they'll call you.
Did they used to come in regularly and say,
They'll call you and tell you, look, when you're next around, pass by, so that we tell you what's going on. We have this problem. Some will say, if you're far away, let me just tell you this is what is happening.
This is what is
That when
happening.
you're next by, if you can take the time, come and see it for yourself and talk about it.
Where Chunguza?
Yes.
Where
this man who was frog marched, do you think it is the first time? I'm wondering. Do you think it is the first time that parents have sought his audience?
I don't think so.
Parents
In terms-
actually said.
Exactly.
Parents said.
We have been talking to
We
these
have
people.
been trying to have conversations with his head. This school head is hardly ever in school.
Thank you.
This school head appears to be running his own businesses. This school head appears to have been doing. This is just one school, Isongo Secondary. There were others.
Yes.
There were other schools. There's a school I remember. Where was it? In Narok County, where they said, for the last 7 years, we've just been getting E's and D's in this school. And if you look at the infrastructure of the school, you can see money has actually been put into trying to build a school here.
Yes. So
A community has put in effort to build a school. A community has put in effort. They are sending their children to school, because you can't say at parents, they are sending their children to school. After you send your child to school, you've done your bit. The next thing is let the teacher now come and tell you, now we need this and that support from the community, so that these children, we can educate these children better. They didn't. These parents were saying 7 years of bad performance. Every time we are asking and we don't get sufficient answers, and it appears to be this teacher is just playing it easy. And that's why enough is enough. Out. Go talk to your employer.
but for us, we are done with
As
you.
guys, we are done. We saw it as well. Was it in one of the coast counties? Was it Kilifi or Taita Taveta? The other one that Edna you had shared. Right? Same thing. It is not a one-off. It's not until last year people scored and then this.
It's been happening, and they've been complaining.
It's been there for a while.
And and it's clear you're not doing anything. You're not addressing the issue.
Yeah.
You know, any time you have a problem such as this, has nothing to do with those particular exam results. It's cumulative. It's something that has been happening over a period of time.
And at the same time, when something like that happens, when a school produces all E's and D's and just one C minus or a C plane, this should make everybody stop what they're doing. The next thing that you ought to be seeing there are officials from the Ministry of Education coming to say,
Hold on.
you, teachers,
What's going on here?
did you actually notice that this is what these children are getting? Did you? I've seen actually in some news items where school heads have said, we admitted guys who got 100 in KCP. What did you expect?
What do you expect?
Sasa kama umetuletea watu wa 100
Nataka wakuwe na A plane.
Actually, 100 ikuwe A.
It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. And it's a double-edged sword in this respect. One of the things that tests your ability as a teacher, that question should be asked of Alliance, Mangu, all these national schools that
that take 400 plus.
Those ones. That's the question you should ask of them. Has everybody gone to university? If they wanted to. If they haven't, you should answer, because
No, did everybody get A and A minus?
Yes,
they should, because they
That's the bar you set.
Yes. But the reason why that question is never asked is because if you ask any teacher, they'll tell you that exams are strange things.
Yes, no.
You can get an A student who does badly in exams. It's exams that freak them out, and they may not perform well. Or something may have happened. Then there are what you call late bloomers. There are people who don't seem to do very, very well, or they're early bloomers. They do very well at an earlier stage, and as life goes on, somehow they are not quite what they seem to promise to be. Or sometimes you put them in an environment that doesn't suit them. They may be everything that promises, but the school you've taken them to is not a place which is a good fit for them. It's not even complicated. That environment they will not thrive in. You take them out of that and put them in a different environment, you'll be shocked at how well they thrive.
You know, we're asking for some kind of intervention to take place by this conversation.
Yes.
And you know, for me, whereby education has been set, it has been set by a system of government.
It has.
It has. Over which government has control. The government does not have control over what happens in your house and what you teach to your child. But where they do have control is the very thing that they have set up. So that is where we need to demand qualitative care. We have to. And ask the question that over time, this thing that you have prescribed for learning for students, are you sure that it is meeting the mark of quality through and through? Not when you check, through and through. That is where we can demand. And that is not happening. And that is the truth.
Yeah.
You should at least see some kind of improvement. The one who got 100 when they were coming in, you never know the circumstances under which they did. But can we see some kind of improvement over the next 4 years? We should be able to. We cannot damn children to uselessness and say because they came in with 100, so therefore they shall remain until they finish. No. So what quality have you set in to ensure that learning is taking place in a wholesome, qualitative manner? And it is not happening.
Yeah. Was it right for parents and students in some cases to frog march teachers whom they felt were not performing in their schools? Was it right for parents to frog march teachers, or is it right for them?
Was it right or was it right?
Is it right? Was it? Is it? Is it right? So that it can be a continuous process. Even today.
It will continue today.
Yeah.
You misbehave.
Even today, if you think, where? Out. We want to hear from you this morning. 0719-012-600, 0719-012-600. Was it right for parents to decide to treat teachers the way they did? Frog march teachers out of school and say, my friend, tuonane mbele. Lakini si hapa kwetu. Was it right or was it not? City?
You know, one does not know the angst that had been building over time that eventually led to this. Parents, in many instances in communities where their schools are supportive of their school because that is where their children go to. For them to take the action that we saw, many people thought that the first reaction was to condemn. The first thing I'd pause and say, what really is happening here? What is it that happened?
What are we seeing?
Yeah, what are we seeing? What happened to get these parents to get to this stage? Because they must have, you see, it wasn't one parent, it was many. It means they sat, they talked, they discussed, they came to an understanding. All villages have sub-chiefs, chiefs, they have authority, they have MCAs, they have leaders whom they listen to. If this is what parents did every day, it will be an epidemic. It will be every time there are results, we see this all over the country. It's not the only school in the country where children have done badly. Why this particular school? That question has to be asked. Why this school? And the frog marched. Did they beat the teachers?
It could be what was put out into the open. You never know what the dynamics were on that day. It could be that angst was met in other places as well, but we saw this one.
It would have been reported.
Yeah.
Believe me, matters that concern children and matters that relate to schools are often brought into the open. And if that had been the case, TSC themselves would have complained.
I think so.
The
sure.
unions would have brought up the issues.
That's true. I think that also maybe the gravity of this particular case was so much that it came out into the open in this manner. But I do believe that there's other irritation or agitation that's coming from different quarters. It cannot be that this is the only one.
This school administration, the teachers were not getting along with this community.
They were not getting along, number one. They had tried to get in touch over these matters before. It didn't happen. But I think that there's a general dissonance, or there's a general dissatisfaction that had then gotten to fever pitch levels, and we saw this in 2023, that never before had we seen. Look at KCPE. There had been dissatisfaction with results, but there had never been an outpouring of that, so much so that we saw people going to court. That had never happened before. 2023 was a year where so many things were changing, transition, especially in this sector. And people said, you know what? This is our opportunity to make a bang out of it, because we will never get a chance again. We also saw in this 2023 where they were saying we're scrapping out this 844. What did parents do? They went and enrolled their children in school so that they could sit that last KCPE because they wanted that result. So now we already know the mark that results bears on the future of education in children. You want that exam result. You want that thing. So you can imagine that this is what it is marred by. You think people are going to be happy? And that's interesting because Washo has a comment here, and she said, you know what? It was right for them to frog march teachers. Unfortunately, their negative impact on the children lasts a lifetime. And that right there is the crux of the matter. It lasts a lifetime. You cannot come and be playing around with people's future. In this case, what future do they have? If at the level that has been set by the guardian of education in the country, they cannot even attain it. And it's for life. Unless you go and enroll them to sit exam again in 2024
and look at what an average Kenyan parent or average Kenyan parents do for their children are willing to do. Many of them understand what they didn't do, or what they were not enabled to do, or what circumstances prevented them from doing, and they look at their station in life. And many parents don't want the same station in life they have for their children
to happen.
They want a better one.
Absolutely.
That is what school represents for them. And that examination and the results is evidence of this. Now, what do you think a parent feels when they themselves know the sacrifice and what they go through to ensure these children go to school, and then those results appear? Think of this parent and what it is they are now confronted with.
Yep.
What do you think? Some of them even have debts they haven't finished paying.
Yes, no.
Some of them can't go and collect the results because they haven't finished paying the school fees. What sort of pressure do you think this parent is under?
It's a total loss. It's a total loss.
Some of them were even saying on TV, look, sasa hapa, vijana wetu wote, you'll see girls is just getting married or just getting pregnant. If it's boys, they'll just now be here. They have nothing. They cannot even go to the local polytechnic, the county-run polytechnics. They've gotten an E. This is it.
That's
what am I going to do with this boy?
He's done.
So he's here.
And imagine that situation whereby the person has not finished paying school fees.
He can't even get the results.
Let's go to the phone lines. Boaz Waruku, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Good morning, team. And thanks for making this a serious conversation in the morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I just wanted to chime in, and I realize that a number of the issues your team is already raising. But let's calm down first and go back to the basics. One, we are dealing with children in this case. And when we are dealing with the children, the basic principle is that the best interest of the child prevails. Whatever decisions that we take, those people who are responsible for taking those decisions must be guided by that. Why do I say so? It's because, one, however wrong or right the reaction of the parents and the local leaders were, there's a responsibility that the Ministry of Education holds that should have ensured that they went to the bottom of the issues so that they help the school to overcome those challenges. But when you see a TSC quick to pull out the 17 teachers, 17 TSC teachers, and of course we are talking about 17 TSC teachers against a capacity of 30 or thereabouts, because we were not able to establish actually the total composition that would be required and the total number of the DOM teachers. So when you are dealing with a school that already the students, the teachers are not adequate in number, the environment that should be provided for them to be able really to deliver is also not very conducive. The interaction between the key stakeholders in that school, we are seeing the stakeholders being the teachers themselves, being the parents, and the primary stakeholders themselves being the students, really not very conducive. And then, results come, and then people act in this kind of ways. First and foremost, we should understand where Kenyans are. Generally, Kenyans are very stressed. Other factors which are not even related to the school management and performance that could also come into play. But why must we restrain ourselves? Because you never know why that really popped out. We should have been very, very sober. We should have first even had a session where these CSOs, we have curriculum support officers within the region there. We have the curriculum support officers.
What's their job?
Their job is to support the teachers and the schools to address or to deliver on the curriculum and to address any challenges that there could be. You should be asking yourself whether the county or the sub-county director of education has been having those conversations when they see that the performance is not right. The first thing that should have happened is for that kind of a consultation to take place. Two, we should have also been looking at, this is the time that we are admitting the first years, or rather the
Form 1.
Form
the Form 1. You are admitting the Form 1s, and the first thing that they see is a kind of a scene. These are children. These are people who are below 18, even those who are in Form 4. These are children. We should not be really giving them that very difficult choice to start thinking that in life, if you want to have your voice heard, you must really just do it the way they've seen it done there. So I do condemn in the strongest manner possible the way the reactions emerged, and even from our unions. You do not come and start projecting yourself that we are protecting teachers. When there's a mess in education, like there's a big one countrywide today, I think we should sober up and look at how do we help address it in a way that would protect the best interest of the child.
Okay.
How do we, as key stakeholders, consult and preliminary, because if it was a case where we start the step 1, 2, 3, 4, it would have been good to have conversations with those key stakeholders of the school. It would have been good then to see where the gaps are. I know they could have done this in the past, but now that this major issue has emerged, I think the mass failure, we should have been looking at that. And two, also in terms of the results, Eric, our system is condemning so many young people, and I say they are being condemned and hurt. They are being condemned because they are being relegated to undertake studies in situations not conducive, and then this uniform exams, which is being administered to them, is one that is administered to all the others.
We hear you,
who are
boss.
excellent. Yes.
We hear you. Thank you very much.
Well,
thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss. Amos in Nairobi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, team.
Morning to you.
Now, my name is Amos. I'll first concur with the discussion which has been going on. It is true the parents were hungry and we support that, but the way they carried out themselves, that is now where we depart. Because it's like they are showing our children that in case wherever you feel like you are not okay with the result or whichever way,
Violence is the
then this is the way. Yeah, violence is the way. I suppose the parents could have gone maybe even to the education officials, like the sub-county director of education, in that manner at least, or even they can even seek the audience of the media, because I don't think these children they just joined there in Form 4. They have been there. It has been a process from Form 1, and they have been seeing their performance. What we are not sure is from Form 1 to Form 3, how have they been performing? Were they expecting much than what they got? Were they doing good? And if yes, they have been performing poorly, then what effort even as the parents have they been putting in place? And this one is not just in that school alone. It goes a long way even to many other schools. And I support what the former union chair, Honorable Sosion said, that we should be, it's supposed to be a continual process. We should be tracking the performance of our children. We should be having the supervisors sent by the TSC, and even as the parent. City said that he was once a chair of a certain school, and even me at some point I was there. So most of the time we always engage, and you can see these things. You can always know what to expect. So if it comes that way, it's something you've been breeding throughout the schooling period, and then now all of a sudden now you are surprised that they got the grade they are getting.
So Amos,
and you cannot. Yes.
You don't support the action that the parents took.
I support. What I don't support is where it was directed. It should have been directed to a different place.
Oh, not the school head.
Not the school head.
Okay.
There are other mechanisms. Even if it was to go to the sub-county education director, at least now we can say they can come to the school. Then we can have a discussion on the way forward.
Do you support the response by the TSC?
Yes. If I was at TSC, I would have done the same way. We are assuming that maybe they have not been engaged. That is an assumption. We are not sure whether they have been engaged previously on the performance of the head. But because the information is scanty out there, so we just know that maybe it is the first time, they are also surprised as we are surprised. But if they have been engaged, if they were engaged maybe previously, then whatever the action should have not been the same way they have done. They should have used another method, maybe engagement. Yes.
Thank you, Amos. Asante sana. Winfred in Nairobi, good morning. Hello, Winfred. Hello.
Mimi Ngazi.
Hello. Yes.
Mtoto wangu alifanya class 8. Sasa mimi nilikuwa naomba mtu mwenye anaweza nisaidia juu mtoto ako kwa nyumba, sina chochote.
Mtoto alifanya standard 8? Ameitwa shule gani?
Niko Nairobi, aliitwa shule inaitwa Embakasi Girls. Nimezunguka, nimetafuta usaidizi, hata hiyo alikuwa anapeana ya elimu sikupata. Nimetafuta ya Equity sikufanikiwa.
Na ya CDF?
Nilijaribu pia, nikienda tunaambiwa basari zishapeana. Zimeshapeana.
Na hiyo shule umeenda, hiyo Embakasi?
Nilienda.
Ukaambiwa nini?
Wakaniambia vile msaada serikali ilitoa, alikuwa ameshagawa zikaisha.
Mtoto alipata points ngapi?
Alikuwa na 350 marks.
Majina yake ni?
Anaitwa Natasha Wairimu.
Umesema aliitwa shule gani?
Embakasi Girls.
So Embakasi Girls wamekataa kumchukua?
Alisema ile pesa walikuwa wamepewa ya serikali ya kusaidia watoto wajiwezi, walikuwa wamepewa nafasi ya watoto wawili na walipeana iliisha.
Kwa hivyo hawajachukua mtoto wako?
Hawajamchukua mtoto wako kwa nyumba.
Na hii school iko constituency gani? Constituency gani?
Embakasi.
Embakasi gani? Embakasi
West.
Okay. Sawa.
Watu wamekusikia. Mambo ambayo unaweza fanya ni enda kwa hiyo shule, ongea na mwalimu, ongea na mwalimu mkuu, mwambie shida yako mahali imefika na ABCD. Pia endelea kuongea na MP mambo ya pesa ya CDF. Na hapo kwenye nyumbani chief anakujua, headmaster ile shule alikuwa anakujua, wakuandikia barua ya kuonyeshana that huyu mtoto ni vulnerable. Barua ikiandikwa na nyumba 10, iandikwa na chief, iandikwa na headmaster wa primary school. Hizo zinasaidia ukienda kwa ofisi ya CDF, ukienda kwa shule, ukienda kwa ofisi nyingine yoyote hata ya county, hata wizara. Ama ukienda kwa mfadhili yoyote, uko na barua inaonyesha.
Ukifaulu piga simu tueleze, usipofaulu pia piga simu tueleze. Sawa.
Asante Winfred.
Nashukuru, asante.
Hai. Solomon Inthika.
Yes, habari zenu?
Mzuri kabisa.
Mimi ninafikiria hivi, tatizo la ukweli kabisa katika elimu yetu ya Kenya, watu hawana, tunakosa kitu kimoja. We are lacking the right mindset towards achieving actually the right education, because when you see yes, what the parents did is not right. But how do people come to that point of doing what they did? Because they have seen in Kenya things don't work. Even if you complain somewhere, it's not easy to be heard in Kenya.
Yeah.
At the same time, when you think also of the teachers, when something like this is happening, they are not involving. It means the teachers and the parents don't have communication. Kwa sababu watu wakijenga uhusiano, then kunapatikana nafasi ya dialogue. So sometimes you go to school, you try even to talk even about one student having a problem. Yale majibu unapata kutoka kwa walimu yanafanya hawapendezi. So ndio watu wafikie kufanya uamuzi wa kufanya jambo kama hilo. Kuna sababu imecause hizo vitu zote. So kuwa na uhusiano kati ya walimu na wazazi na wanafunzi ndio kitu inakosa, ndio sababu matatizo ambayo tunayaona. Na pia lazima tukubali serikali pia kuna sehemu nyingi sana inashindwa kutekeleza majukumu yao kama serikali.
Okay.
So haya ni matokeo ya kufail. We can say like that. When the systems are failing, then everything is going that way. Matokeo ya kitu ni kile ambacho tunaona kwa nje.
Thank you, Solomon.
So we need to look for the root cause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Finally, let's hear from Kuria in Thika. Good morning, Kuria.
Hi, morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well.
I'm not from Thika, but Nyeri. This is the usual Kuria.
All right. The same Kuria of Nyeri.
Now, I get somehow disturbed by that thing or that issue that happened. One, I have one question. What if those teachers are very rude to the parents to an extent where even there's some cases and they're in public?
Yeah.
Mwalimu anaambia wazazi, mimi hata msipofanya ABCD sio lazima nikae huku, naweza pelekwa Nyeri. So already there is a disunity in that camp.
Yeah.
Secondly, what if that teacher is always a drunkard in that village town?
And is known.
And he's known. And when you talk to him, he tells you, mimi najuana na watu wako kwa TSC. I'll give you a very physical example.
Yep. In 30 seconds as we conclude.
Yes, there's a school in Nyeri County called Watuka High School. In 2021, it had a population of 460 students. As we speak, There are only 60-something students. We had to do a harambe to make sure that that school comes back to life.
Uh-huh.
Whose mistake is it? Now, if they don't perform, the parents will feel aggrieved. Do the sub-county or the directors of education have a meeting with the parents to ask them, what is happening? Are you okay? Yes. Are you not okay? No. What do they have such an issue?
We hear you. Got to end. Courier,
Yeah,
thank you for your call. Have a lovely day.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.